2009's My Bloody Valentine 3D was a holiday horror movie remake that also cashed in on that era's post-Avatar obsession with 3D blockbuster movies, which Hollywood tried to somehow convince audience members we were creating a demand for. I don't need gimmicks like your weird glasses to understand the illusion of depth. I was in a liberal arts program freshman year, so everything I do already has the illusion of depth. Thank you. But what does My Bloody Valentine 3D have for us on the most romantic day of the year for anyone who loves seasonal grocery store products? How about horror-themed versions of everything we associate with Valentine's Day? Scary boxes of chocolate, bloody hearts being effortlessly removed, and of course, that iconic Valentine's Day character, the gas mask-wearing pickaxe murderer, who represents the generational trauma created by America's coal mining industry and its devastating carbon emissions. People were arguing with me in a message board saying that should have been Cupid. And I'm like, really? As in Cupid Gooding Jr., the actor who starred in Snow Dogs? Okay. Not only do I have better taste than the rest of the internet, but also more intelligence. So try and keep up with me as I break down this 3D slasher slash whodunit mystery featuring some of the most unrecognizable actors from the early 2000s, except for the guy who's on Supernatural, of course. Luckily, combustion fuels are supernatural, so it fits well, and that means it's time to grab your hard hat and a canary you don't care about and hit the mine shaft with me for another cartoon heart-shaped installment of Clip Breakdown. Hello television viewers, my name is Nick. Thank you so much for joining me once again on my channel for another installment of Clip Breakdown. This is the playlist where we dive into our favorite movies, TV movies, and other such content here on the web. And we break it into pieces, like all of you have a piece of my heart this Valentine's Day. So we can look at each individual clip and decide if it's a cute heart-shaped Valentine from our secret admirer, or the excised human heart from the woman that your husband had an affair with, left on your doorstep. That's where we're going this day today. I actually do remember seeing this movie in theaters. I think I was living in New York City at the time. It's hard to remember because the movie itself is hard to remember, and I don't see why it wouldn't be with a plot this indiscernible. Tell me if you even almost know what's going on when this is in the first 30 seconds.
We're doing everything in our power to get them out alive.
Tom Hanniger is responsible for the collapse, but it was an accident. That's the thing we have to remember.
It's true. That is literally something you would have to remember, along with all of this other information, to make it through this movie without scratching your head. For some reason, these characters and this exposition will be super crucial to the story, yet they're all introduced via distracting 3D newspaper photos, while they have the actors reciting this entire town's oral history as part of a flashback to an intercom announcement. What? In my opinion, a movie's setup should be a gradual build, not front-loaded with information that theatrical audiences can't even hear because I'm in the seat next to them noisily trying to open my sour Skittles. Why is that bag made out of thicker plastic than regular Skittles? Homophobic, I would venture to guess. Just kidding. Meanwhile, they're still being bombarded with a pause-to-read Wall Street Journal article about the inventor of the steam engine or some shit. I literally thought this was the opening credit sequence. I was like, oh, the executive producer's name is Buried Alive. His parents must have been really into metal. And we're back with the Kraft Foods Mind Collapse Radio Hour. Ugh, the crate is falling on us. Only one person survived, and his middle name is O'Halloran. And we're the news reporting that the one survivor killed the others in order to conserve oxygen. Witnesses state this would probably make a good scene for the movie, but we ran out of budget making 3D headlines. I'm the sheriff. Hello, reporters. It's my duty today to inform you of the number 165AB279. Remember that, because we'll be quizzing you halfway through the movie. I'm already stressed out. Like, what year is this supposed to be? Why does everything look like those souvenir Old West photos you get at a theme park? They show us the picture of this man named Harry Warden, who, as I said, killed off the other 5 survivors trapped in the mines after the collapse in order to, like, save the oxygen for himself. And that's why when they pulled him out, he was in a coma, but still alive. Also, they quickly showed us the guy from Supernatural. His name is Jensen Ackles, but he plays Tom Hanniger in this. It's very hard to grasp, but also he he's the son of the owner of Haniger Mines, and he didn't bleed the lines, as though I know what that means, which caused the explosion because of his mistake the night before. So to me, it's like, well, then I have a lot of antagonists that I'm trying to figure out right now. We have the guy whose fault it indirectly was, and then the guy who used his selfish survival skills to make it out of that accident. It seems to me like where are we going here? Well, we go to the titles, and then we see that, what's his name? Hank Loran. The small town names in this are gonna drive me up a wall tonight. I can already feel it. Harry Warden. A year later, he opens his eye and gets up and walks towards another patient. And then when a nurse, I'm like, what year is this? I guess the early thousands, because if it was, anyway, this is a year after the mine collapse. Harry's been in a coma for a year, and obviously he kills everyone in the hospital with no gun. Countries that outlaw guns, like Ireland or Scotland, they have very few mass murders because they would have to use a knife, which our killer here uses a pickaxe mostly. It's like, I would be able to run if I saw you pickaxing 4 people away from me. Like, it's a hospital, and he has superhuman speed in this thing. But anyway, the cops show up, and they're very shocked by this gruesome scene on the best day of the year, Valentine's Day. He sees like a heart drawn in blood, and he's like, happy Valentine's Day. Sir, there's a dead child at your feet. Who are you talking to right now?
Who did this?
Harry Warden.
Harry Warden's in a coma.
Oh, is he? Thank you, Sheriff. That's good to know. I must have gotten the wrong information from that chopped up nurse behind you. Ma'am, just so you know, that patient was actually comatose when he cut you open and caused this decades-long staff shortage for the hospital. I love this little small town. What is it called? I cannot remember. It's like Haniger, Harmony is the town, I think. Like, I can't remember this stuff. It's too much already. And they gave so much pre-exposition that took place a year ahead of this via voiceover. I can't get into all that. This is a small town that is very lucky because it gets to completely circumvent the American legal system. That sheriff walked onto an active crime scene and said, who did this? And whoever's name you say is going to jail, so choose carefully. Also, if you say it quickly enough, we can count it as a fair and speedy trial. The police have no idea where Harry went? Harry? I think it was Harry. So many H names. Why, screenwriters? But Harry knows exactly where he's going. Back to the mine that almost killed him. Why? To get revenge on the kids who are having a beer drinking party. That's when we meet our main character, Sarah, a fresh-faced young girl who seems to be going steady with, what's his name? Tom. Even though a year ago he was responsible for negligent homicide, we don't care. It's 1999. Party like our blush is bright and our eyeshadow is mint.
Okay, say over the pants hand job. Yay! You guys want one?
No, we're good. Come on.
Axel is right. We don't need our picture taken because the way I do my makeup looks like I already have a full-time camera flash going off in my face. Does Tom, guy from Supernatural, really think it's smart to attend a young people's drinking party on the 1-year anniversary of him blowing up the mine inside the actual mine? You're going back to the scene where you caused the mine to collapse and also this whole small town society, it would seem. It's called Optics, LL Bean Boy. Look it up, along with the instructions for how to not blow up the mine you work at. Maybe it's like supposed to show there's like nepotism involved because the dad owns the mine that fuels this whole town's economy, so the police can't really go after the son who made this mistake. But it only takes about 30 seconds of walking into the mine shaft before Sarah notices all of the kids are being really quiet. And when they're not being quiet, they're being murdered by, you guessed it, Harry, who has put on his mining uniform and come back to take revenge.
You think I was Harry Warden or something? Hey, Michael, check this out.
I can't really show it on YouTube, but trust me, that was an unnaturally extended shot of Johnny featured extra over there with his eyeball popping out, coming right out at the camera, in order to justify the fact that this is a 3D movie. Although it also perfectly illustrates how most people's heads start to feel after about 4 minutes of watching a 3D movie. Of course, since the 2010s, this 3D trend has certainly died down, and watching it at home, I can only guess which shots were meant to seem impressive. By showing something that gets really close close to the camera for no reason. And maybe I'm being nostalgic, but I do sort of miss that immersive sensory experience of having to suffer with painful plastic glasses sawing off my ears for 90 minutes. So just imagine we're watching this today with that technology. And that's not gonna be hard because I don't know if you've noticed, but it's very conspicuous when you're watching a 3D movie. They will find the camera angle that makes a person taking out their retainer look like you're flying up to the Death Star. They'll be like, so whenever something like that happens, just think to yourself, whoa, that probably would have been so cool in 3D. Probably would have been so cool. What a sentence. Also, thanks to whoever sent their old retainer to my P.O. box. I knew it would come in handy. I'm just kidding. I stole that from my dead friend. So apparently, this pickaxe guy has been chopping up all of the teenagers who walked into that tunnel seconds ago with no noise because the kids are like hiding. She finds Irene, the one who said over the pants hand job, and Axel, her boyfriend, and they're like, ooh. Sarah has a hard time keeping quiet when she's scared. This to me feels a little tone deaf. Like if it took place in 1999, the hiding from a murderer in this way of teenagers feels very Columbine-like, but it does not acknowledge that you kind of need America's lax gun laws to accomplish such a horrible crime. He's like a stealth ninja with a pickaxe coming up superhuman speeds. I don't know what to tell you. And plenty of unsuspecting kids walk through this scene, giving our main heroes the advantage to escape.
Jason, is that you? Come on, dude, you're scaring me! Come on.
Wow, I'm starting to agree with the reviews. The movie version of Dear Evan Hansen does make for an uneasy viewing experience. But we gotta warn him anyway. Look out! That's the guy who woke up from a year-long coma and instantly knew he had to get revenge on Tom, even though they didn't find out he was responsible for the coma until weeks after he was rescued. Run, Dear Evan Hansen, run! Some other girl comes through and gets her head sliced by a shovel. Really bad effect there. I can't really show that either because of YouTube, but you know, I'll be lucky if this even gets up when I want it because Lionsgate loves to copyright strike. Lionsgate, if you're manually reviewing this, it's called fair use, my friend. Let's not set a legal precedent that we don't want to lose. Tom comes back from the car where he was like, oh, let me just grab the beers because I don't want to go back to the site of my trauma. And he comes back and he manages to hold off Harry from murdering Sarah so that Axel and Irene and her can escape. They kind of leave him behind, although he does make it, obviously. We have to find all of this out by flashing forward again another 10 years. So it's been a year ago and then a year later and now 10 years later, all more confusing sequences than the next. But we do know that the town is notorious for this killing spree that killed 22 people in 99.
Sheriff, do you ever worry that these horrific events might repeat themselves?
Why don't you people just stop coming back here every year? The stupidest holiday a greeting card company ever invented.
Eloquent, Sheriff.
Wait, does anyone else get the feeling that this guy is the sheriff? Hopefully they'll have more characters inserting his job title into every sentence so that we can confirm. I feel like this was shot right after the opening scene and the director just got the studio's notes that it needed to be clear who each character was in relation to the story because for the moment it seems like they overcorrected a little bit.
What's so funny?
Your boss, County Sheriff Axel Palmer. If only your old man could see you now.
And I know you, Bobby Brown costume. You're the guy in town who dresses like a mushroom scientist who likes to spend his weekends sitting near a pond and looking at ducks. He's always in full-on Brooks Brothers, this guy. Axel was the rude boyfriend, and now guess what? He's married to Sarah. But what happened to Tom? Although he's the sheriff, we get the idea that he is not the most patient or scrupulous police officer based on how he yelled at that reporter. Why would the reporter ask, though, if we're worried that every year on Valentine's Day, these events will repeat themselves? It's not a tradition to repeat mass murders on the same day every year. It's every day of the year, remember?
When are you gonna dump this bum and run away with me?
I get off work at 8.
Well, I'll be sure to tuck the top down on my Cadillac.
Sir, please, people are eating breakfast. Try not to talk about your foreskin so boastfully. There's a young lady and supporting character named Megan sitting right there, trying to enjoy her Valentine's Day cup of a bright red, clear liquid topped with whipped cream. Ugh, that looks nasty. When that girl dies later, it's punishment for this, not using her body to have sex. although the movie takes a pretty strong stance against that as well. We know Megan's gonna die because she gives the look to Axel, and then they're seen like having the end of a tryst, an affair, at this rundown cabin that I guess used to be Axel's dad. I had to watch this movie thrice to get that. Axel's dad has since died, the owner of, no, I don't know who this Axel's dad is. He was depressed after the mine murders because everyone's like kids died in that thing. Also, Megan works for Sarah at the grocery store. She's the manager. And then a black horse rolls into town in the form of the guy from Supernatural. He's there because his dad just died and he's got to take care of his newly inherited mine. But since it was his mistake that blew up the mine in the first place, the whole town is like, we don't want you here. So the first thing Tom has to do is check into the seedy motel. There's an extended sequence where Irene, the let's say girl with loose morals shown at the beginning with the flash photo makeup, she's having sex with some guy who pisses her off and she chases him out of the hotel naked as though that's something anyone would do. And then he gets killed by the Valentine's Day mask wearing guy. And then there's the owner of the hotel gets killed by being thrust into a light socket. She had dwarfism, so it's like a really small mannequin. I don't know why that choice was made, I guess, but anyway, we will never forget her because after Irene is eventually killed, again, hard to show because she's butt naked the whole time. Enough with the horror movies where you make naked women run around. It's so weird. And also, ouch, my breasts freely jiggling outside, not good for an actress. Anyway, Tom just checked into this motel and 3 people were murdered, so that's not great.
Check the motel registration. There's a couple of fakes. Not too many people use their real name around here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you mean that most of the names are fake because not a lot of people like to use their real names around here. That's a 10-4, good buddy. You did a great job stating those 2 simple facts. It might just feel like you're coming off confusing because of the script written for this movie that you're in. I like how someone from the production design team was like, what are subtle details we can add to help reaffirm that the motel owner is that woman who got shattered into a fluorescent light tube? And then they just inkjet printed a reference photo of the actress at her costume fitting and stuck it on the wall. Sorry, audience, this is a 3D movie, so we don't do subtle details. And also, you have to call them 3D details, 3D details. Anyway, it's $10 more per ticket. Tom, ex-boyfriend of Sarah, comes by the grocery store where she works for the first time in 10 years, so she's clearly shocked to see him, and says sorry that his father died, and she's like, you can't sell the mine though, and he's like, I don't want to talk about that. That would apparently spell doom for this town, even though I think it's more dangerous to keep it open with all the kids getting murdered in there. What do I know though? Green energy. We also know that Sarah has continued to be a good person despite being the put-upon wife because she has a tiny child with all the recessive traits that 2 brunette parents could want.
Why don't you go upstairs and you brush your teeth and tell me all about it, okay?
Okay, Mom.
Love you.
Who says bye to their child when they just got home and he's just going in the next room to brush his teeth for 3 minutes? That's right, nobody does, Jamie King. I understand that you went to school for acting, but maybe sometimes you should consider that this has actually made your instincts seem even less natural than a normal person's.
Hey, Rosa, is Axel home yet?
No, Mrs. Palmer.
All right, thanks for everything today. I can take it from here.
Yeah, thanks, Rosa. You did a great job representing several stereotypes. That means you can go home and get some rest. We'll see you again in the 3rd act when you're unceremoniously slaughtered. Since we are right on the brink of Valentine's Day, I decided to show myself an act of love through the comfort and joy of a home-cooked meal, which is not normally something I really do for myself unless I can make it easy with the sponsor of today's video, EVERYPLATE. For years now, I've been using EVERYPLATE to simplify home-cooked meals, saving myself money and time while still eating right. I cannot overstate how many meal delivery services I've tried. I say it all the time, some of them nearly broke me, but I'm actually saving money with EVERYPLATE. These meals are 25% cheaper than grocery shopping, and I don't have to worry about buying too much when I'm cooking for one and watching a bag of kale rot in the fridge. I can feel it in my wallet that EVERYPLATE is truly America's best value meal kit. I love the pre-portioned ingredients. My dog loves them too because there's usually a little bag of cheese in there that I'll share a little bit. It's okay. And most importantly, importantly, it's fun to cook with EveryPlate. Like when I made these griddled tomato and cheesy kale sandwiches. Oh, it's so good. EveryPlate recipes only contain the highest quality ingredients, which means I don't have to go to the grocery store and dig through produce to know that I'm getting the freshest tasting meals out of this kit. And the great value doesn't mean you don't have choice. You can easily customize your plate the way you like it by swapping out proteins, sides, veggies. With this recipe, it taught me how to add bacon to the sandwiches if I wanted. And every week you have 25 easy and affordable recipes that come together in about 30 minutes, so you're never gonna get tired of eating the same thing, which is what I would do by just eating spaghetti and sauce every night, or Laffy Taffy from 7-Eleven. It's okay. When I tell you that this was one of the best sandwiches I've ever made for myself, I mean it. Like, I didn't even really realize, but I ate the entire thing while standing in one spot on camera. It was very paranormal activity when you put it in time lapse. And you'll be just as transfixed by the flavor in your EveryPlate meals. Get started with EveryPlate for just $1.49 per meal by going to everyplate.com and entering the code NickDiRamio149. Mwah! Delicious food at a great price. Now that's my Valentine lover. Sarah gets in touch with her husband who's working late at the station because of this motel crime, and he breaks the unfortunate news that their old-timey friend from the flashback, Irene, has died. And I guess Sarah assumed that would happen based on that being the promiscuous character, because she's sort of like, oh, she died? Okay. And the mystery is just getting started because the police station lets us know that this killer is out to terrorize the community.
Sheriff, you got a Valentine.
Officer Beth, you've already been written up for handling potential evidence without gloves and also re-gifting items you stole from the evidence locker. Can we chill? That's not gonna be enough to get all the men you work with to stop sexually harassing you. So I don't know, try again on St. Patrick's Day. Good luck. I've heard horror stories about women working on police forces, not a super nurturing environment. Not a general rule, but I think this town, it's fair to say, they're really sketchy up in here. Wood paneling walls? I don't trust it. And this stupid box of chocolates somehow has a human heart in it that looks like an anatomical model from medical school, but you know, whatever. Meanwhile, Tom is not making any friends by having returned to town.
Wrong bar, kid.
Whoa, that probably would have been so cool in 3D. Did you all remember to think that? Why not? It's literally the only thing I asked you to do for this video, aside from the 12 other things I asked you to do at the beginning of this video. Actually, I think I forgot. Let me add it. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Click that subscribe button over there. I've got merch and a Patreon. That's it. Think what I tell you to think, like, subscribe, comment, merch, Patreon! That was a terrible stage punch, by the way, no matter what dimension I'm seeing it in. Why did that guy scream like Miss France? The former sheriff, who was working 10 years ago but has since retired, we're supposed to know somehow. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention for a lot of this movie, but it's complicated. He's like, you basically are not welcome in this town. Everyone here blames you for all of those deaths. And Tom makes a great point. He's like, weren't you the sheriff back then? Why don't they blame you for letting a guy go from a murder hospital spree to a murder mine spree? You had time.
I just saved your ass, Hanniger, for the second time. But don't you worry, kiddo. There won't be a third.
Good.
Yeah, who cares? We hate you and this whole vest-wearing community. You can all shovel coal on the choo-choo train to hell. That would have sounded cooler if I just called it a train. Anyway, that night at 1 a.m., Sarah goes to see her husband watching that. Oh, the reason Irene got mad at that guy she was sleeping with was because he was secretly videotaping it. And that secret video camera caught the coal mining guy who killed them on camera. Sarah really does not care about this friend. She's like getting murdered naked on the screen and she's like, oh, cool. So who's picking up Noah from school tomorrow? Also, Axel here questions her about being visited by Tom and being like, oh, the love of your life. And she's like, no, don't say that. You're my husband.
He's not the love of my life.
He left this on the dresser.
It's not what it looks like. That's just an image I was masturbating to. Damn it. I meant to improvise some sort of lie, but I was sort of caught off guard because you're playing our dead ex-friend's sex tape murder evidence on the family computer right now. The tape shows Tom being brought to his room outside the motel window at one point. So basically the husband is like, he's in trouble, so I wouldn't go emotionally affairing with him. But of course, Tom shows up at her work the next day before it opens. He's like, you have 15 minutes minutes to talk before the store opens. Yeah, but you're supposed to be at work like an hour before the store opens. Stocking the shelves? Anyway, she really digs in with him on the reason why he ran away for 10 years.
You sell those mines, you'll regret the rest of your life, too.
This town depends on that mine. Everyone from the miners to the cashiers at the grocery store.
Yeah, I meant to ask, why do all your cashiers love eating coal so much? I mean, there are a lot of Pepsi products advertised in that grocery store, so is it a stomach acid thing, like when a dog is eating grass? Are they trying not to throw up from Pepsi? This is the first I'm hearing, or you, if you were watching the movie, about the coal mine being the bread and butter of this whole town. You would think it's been like on a decline since these tragedies and since the invention of the Prius. But, you know, Tom talks about how he had to run away. He couldn't face what had happened. And she's talking about how, well, I stayed and faced it. I was left with the mess.
Can't go back to that place where it all went wrong and find your way again.
I feel like she's talking about him processing his trauma by going to therapy, but I feel like instead he's going to literally visit the mines where so many people died because of him. Also, why do the people in this town love not saying the G in certain words with the otherwise perfect diction of a Hollywood actor? I ain't a yellow belly, and you won't catch me running away from anything. Tom does in fact go to the mines. We find out later it's because that speech of hers convinced him to not sell. What were they gonna do with that mine? Make it a Residence Inn? Like, they would still mine from it, right? Anyway, that guy who threw the punch at the window last night is the one bringing him down the mines, but that's not good because the coal mining murderer comes up and locks Tom in the cage that is there for some reason, and then he has forced to watch while he attacks that guy who tried to, you know, fight him last night. Whoa, that mustard bean so cool in 3D. No, I'm pretty sure I said it right. You're the one who said it wrong. This guy is a multiple axe wounded, and then that's, of course, when everyone comes downstairs and sees Tom there, locked in a cage. They do tend to believe he couldn't have done it because the cage was jammed shut. Sarah finds all this out when she shows up at the hospital to deliver hearts of candy for the children. And Tom is like, Harry Warden is back. And everyone's like, what? But he died in the mine collapse after his murder spree. And they're like, we never found his body. And I'm like, okay, again, this is all news to me. But then Axel is like, not only is he dead, the police here who handled crimes at the time had a mob mentality and killed him and buried him out in the woods. And then they covered it up for the last 10 years. It's like, okay, you're really breaking that wall of silence the police love so much. We don't talk about the cover-ups. And he's like, show us where the body is so that people will believe Harry Warden is not back. He couldn't possibly be. This is a copycat.
Sheriff, you really think that a set of decade-old bones is going to clear up these murders?
And to stop people from thinking the boogeyman is back, and then I can get on with my investigation.
That does make sense until you think about it. How is public speculation and a ghost story even almost preventing you from finding out who the actual murderer is? How come all of a sudden you need to convince a jury of your peers? This is Coal Town, USA, after all, where suspected criminals are guilty until proven guilty. And no, we won't be taking forensic evidence into consideration because the rubber eyepiece fell off of our microscope. The mystery deepens, and the killer could be literally anyone except for the people it obviously isn't, such as old guys who are shorter than that. The grave is empty, however, completely empty. So they were like, he had to be dead. He had no pulse. And then you buried dirt on him. So yeah, it would be hard to survive that. You should have watched for like a half hour to make sure he at least suffocated. Anyway, we're supposed to be like suspecting everyone in this movie. Tom like looks at the deputy sheriff suspiciously as like, that guy has been nothing but nice. They don't really make that a serious accusation ever, even though twice he looks meaningfully at something. Axel and Tom are questioning each other, and Tom gets punched because he's like, Sarah settled for you. And this old guy with the white hair and the brown clothes is like, you gotta get out of town or whoever this murderer is gonna come for you. And Tom's like, or you. Like, stop saying suspicious shit. You're already being in every suspicious situation. People either think Tom is the murderer or the murderer has come back as Harry Warden would because Tom came back. Like Harry Warden was just living out in the woods for 10 years and now he knows that Tom's back because he accesses Facebook at the library. I don't know. But that night, Tom sneaks out to Axel's dad's old decrepit house in the woods and sees like there are these suspicious boxed hearts of chocolate that were found at all of the murder sites. That's the guy's MO. He rips out your heart and puts it in a box of chocolates. Otherwise, this movie could basically take place any time of year. Feels like they had this one written and then they were like, oh, this can work for the Valentine's Day bloody thing that we're trying to remake from the 80s. As foreshadowed, the white-haired guy, the old man with the big house, is time to die. whoa, that Mr. Bean cold brew win 3D. You know, I'm sorry for being so hard on you towards the beginning. That is harder to say than I thought. I think it's just because I'm having a weird reaction to mixing Benadryl with vinegar, which is what I have for dinner every night. It could also be because I mixed witchcraft and wizardry. I don't really know. I should ask my doctor, but he won't pick up my calls. Do any of you know him? That shot was clearly inspired by the famous nurse station scene from an otherwise not so memorable movie, Exorcist III: Legion. Look out! It's nearly Headless Nick! Ugh, pardon that reference. I was almost on some turf shit for a minute there. Never again. J.K. Rowling is the real exorcist demon. So that guy gets killed by having his head thrust upon the post. He thrust his head against the post. Sarah walks into the police station and sees her friend from childhood splayed out naked and murdered, and she's like, oh, pretty wallpaper. I'm like, come on, girl, do you care? Also, husband, do you care? Maybe some privacy? Put those in a folder? When that former mine operator guy, retiree, is found dead in the woods, there is even more suspicion cast on Tom, who was not around the night before, I guess. And now we're worried for Sarah and Megan's life because they're closing down the grocery store all by themselves, even though that's not enough people for a store of this size, whatever. And Megan is indicating that she's having an affair with Sarah's husband, or being like, why did you marry Axel? And she's like, well, during the mine attack, he was there for me. Meaning he like kind of helped her up when her boyfriend also ran back to try and help her. Anyway, Megan's like, well, he's not there for you now. It's like, you said that in a weird way, like it's because he's in your The lights go out and these ladies start getting scared, as they should, because someone's in there with them.
Wait. I'm kind of a sometimes.
Don't worry, Megan, there's nothing to fear. When you're surrounded by the comfort and convenience of all of these delicious PepsiCo brand snack products, such as Pepsi, Diet Pepsi, and Pepsi in cans. Plus, you can always take solace in PepsiCo's complimentary portfolio of foods, including classics such as Lay's, Doritos, Gatorade, Pepsi Cola, Mountain Dew, Quaker Oats, and my favorite kind of Pepsi, Pepsi's Pepsi.
My favorite kind of Pepsi, Pepsi's Pepsi.
It doesn't take long before Mr. Axe Murderer Man, who I wish had something at least that they called him. I guess they just call him Harry, assuming it's him or a copycat. He starts chasing these women, but they use the power of feminism and the mops they were mopping with to beat him off and help get each other back to safety in the office.
Come on, Megan.
Whoa! Yabba dabba skibby dee dee in 3BDB. I can't even remember what the original sentence was. Someone please help me. Quick, which refreshing PepsiCo brand product helps support brain health? The girls barricade themselves in the back office, but Mr. Pickaxe does what he does best, pickaxing through the door, until he's suddenly running really fast, several hundred yards.
Come back.
She got dragged for filth, because the ground is filthy and she's about to have her heart ripped out. For Valentine's Day, remember? She said, make sure the people know my last words were PepsiCo! Bye, Megan. You have to die because of, again, having sex. Sarah, you might make it because you're wearing modest garments. No, that was my favorite small town folksperson plaid button-up. It's how people knew I'm such a down-to-earth casual character, minus my perfectly done makeup and always styled hair. Suspiciously soon after that guy, the murderer, runs away, Axel shows up and is like, where's Megan? And Megan is super dead with her heart ripped out in the alley and the words painted in Kill Bill blood over her head that say, be mine forever. Good practical effects in this movie, by the way. I didn't notice the first time I watched it as a youngster because probably it's really hard to see fine detail in a 3D movie. It's blurry at best. Oh, Axel is like, I don't know why he would go after Megan to get to you. And it's like, well, he tried to kill her. It probably was just her. But Sarah's like, maybe it was to get to you. I'm not blind. And he's like, ooh, gotta go. Back at home, Noah is watching cartoons and Rosa is fulfilling her prophecy. Go! 3D! Uh-oh, the phrase just entered its jazz era. Hopefully that means it's following a similar career trajectory to Lady Gaga. I'll start planning my Oscar speech just in case. I would like to thank PepsiCo products, The lady who loves putting her fingerprints everywhere and the retired sheriff show up to Noah's house because somehow the sheriff is like, he's in there, we gotta go get him. So she goes in looking for Noah. Officer Beth, mama, we talked about this. The governor is always writing complaints asking us why we keep letting Detective Redhead over here tank every murder case by touching the evidence without gloves. Just leave the music on. Leave that TV on. What are you doing? Weirdly, that lady survives, but the old chief of police gets pickaxe murdered, as you could expect, by having his bottom jaw ripped off in 3D. It's really, I hate that kind of thing. There was a Saw movie that did that and I hated it. After her attack, Sarah is at the hospital where she gets a call from Tom, who she's starting to be like, I think I trust you more than anyone, even though you're the only suspicious new thing that's causing these murders. He's like, basically, Axel's not the guy you think he is. It's like, he was shown to be not a good guy, so whatever. He goes and picks her up, being like, I have to show you something. There's proof that he's the one who did it, planning to take her to the house where her husband owns all of those boxes of chocolate. But while they're driving, Axel calls Sarah and is like, Tom is the killer. You gotta believe me. And so she's sort of like, I don't know who the killer is. Damn it. You know, maybe Axel is a better husband and father than I thought. Did you see how gently he closed that flip phone? It's proof that I can change him. Immediately, Tom knows that there is now suspicion cast upon him from the only person he used to love, named Sarah. And he starts acting erratic in a way that I'm like, okay, he might, need some help. It could be him who did it, but also it could be Axel. I don't remember. So she causes a car crash so that she can escape and then runs into the house that Axel owns and looks for a weapon. But now it really feels like it was Axel because she sees he has like the picture he found of her and Tom as an emotional affair evidence, as well as many boxes of chocolate falling all over the place. And right on cue, the axe murderer shows up, tries to kill her, but she runs into the mines where she gets scared by all these uniforms, gets into an elevator. Oh, and then both Axel and Tom show up at the same exact time being like, shoot him. No, he's the one, shoot him. And she's like, everyone shut the f up. And that's when eventually Tom is like, you know what, just shoot us both. It doesn't matter. And she's like, oh, that's an interesting offer. But that's when Tom really steps in it.
Be mine forever? Those are the same words written in blood above her dead body. Isn't that right, Axel?
Did you know that Megan was dead?
Oh, hell yeah. Officer Beth might as well have died in that house because we have a new Detective Redhead on our team. Tom said, I'm so sorry, my band started playing the wrong song and I didn't know what to do, so I thought I'd do a hoedown. Like, no you didn't, girl. You killed Beth, Megan, everyone. And then you tried to kill Noah, but just fried up the housekeeper instead. How dare. But Tom honestly didn't even know he was living this double life. He's like, look out behind you, there's Harry Warden. And she's like, there's literally no one here. And then Harry Warden disappears like in Field of Dreams into Tom, thus visualizing his split personality. We also see him flashing back to all of the crime scenes, digging up the mask from Harry Warden's grave, locking himself in that cage that everyone was so sure he couldn't have done. It's like, okay, but then he did. So where is the detective work? And then the spirit of Harry Ward comes forward in our antagonist, who, as usual, is shown to be someone who, because of his mental illness, must be insane and not even know he's killing people. He gets a good jab in on, what's his name, Darius? No, Axel. Darius. And so Sarah is trying to help lift up her husband who cheats, just saying. They really love each other all of a sudden. That was a turnaround. And she's really, you can tell she's struggling to lift him. Okay, sweetheart, you are just determined to use some of those improv skills in this movie, aren't you? Fine. You can grunt and moan however you want, but the producers can only promise to devote, let's say, 90 seconds of unbroken runtime of the finished film towards that. She said, perfect, I'll start right now. You can get up now? Can you get up? No. Valentine's Day. Ah, my baby. Valentine's Day. By now, Tom is chasing them down the hall, thus fulfilling the foreshadowed prophecy of revisiting the place and making it all go different. Sarah has one bullet left after firing and missing 5 times into the walls of a canyon, but suddenly she's literally the Matrix and shoots a canister, which I guess, not being a coal miner, is similar to the way that the tank blew up when Tom caused it 10 years ago. Either way, he explodes. He's like standing right next to that explosion, which would literally crush your entire organ system. But the first rescue worker to come down there is like, well, we're gonna help you, buddy. And weak Mr. Tom somehow takes one arm and axes the guy in the head. It's a lot. It's another excuse for 3D. Why does every stupid kill in this movie have to be like with the axe? It's very uncreative just to see it go into different parts of the head. Also, I still take issue with the way that that whole first scene was introduced. They could have combined the teen partying scene with the Tom being negligent era of this whole disaster. Like, what if he left work without checking the lines because he was excited to go drink at the party, and then somebody who saw like their son die in the accident, who was also a miner, like this father-son mining duo, went on a killing spree to get back at whoever was the kids of the people who worked at the mine with him. You know, whatever. It took me 3 seconds to come up with a better solution, but here's the movie we were left with, a cliffhanger in case this did well enough for a My Bloody Labor Day 3D. I forget the holiday calendar. I know that probably seemed a little unlikely, but trust me, it actually makes sense. You see, back in 2009, the extra firm hold hair gel really was capable of keeping your hair good and straight with all that exposed scalp, even underneath a hat. So you could rock that short, spiky hairstyle, no matter how long sweat has been melting a sticky film across your forehead. And also, it was very trendy at that time anyway, to have a face that was stickier than the floor of a movie theater. A 3D movie theater, right? Booyah! Bringing it all full circle. Whoa, that probably would have looked so cool in 3D. We really did make it back home. Thank you PepsiCo products. And that's all she love letter wrote for this Valentine's Day 3D bloody massacre thing. Quite the movie of forgettability. I mean, even its most interesting shot that made me jump was a direct ripoff of another iconic shot from horror film history. And without the gimmick of being in 3D, this is just like a very generic horror movie, slasher, whodunit type of thing with some notable prosthetics or dead mannequin looking things. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And also give this video a big thumbs up if you want to see more Valentine's Day content this February. But most importantly, if you're new to my channel, I would love to have you click that subscribe button right over here. That way you never miss new videos from me. I upload 2 new ones every week. So turn on notifications and you'll always be the first to know when I'm coming down the mine shaft elevator, axing you in the head. I'm just kidding, I would never. You guys are all the greatest. Thank you so much for putting your heart into a box with me today. I will see you next time.